good evening. Thank you a lot to the organizer for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be there. So probably if I click, I will see my slide. Here they are. So first, before to start, I would like to emphasize this one of the lines here, the Finance and Insurance Reloaded program by Institut Louis Bachelier. That is very close to this place. So we are launching a transverse research academic program about all the impact of new technologies in finance and insurance. So if you want to have news about that, the website will be very, very soon available. And so try to follow on this. To be more topical about what I will talk to today, I will explain you in short what is reinforcement learning. Probably you know a little bit about it, and how to apply that to some financial problems, how to improve the standard ways to implement reinforcement learning. So we don't have a lot of time, but I made some bullet points to start with. So what is reinforcement learning? What is a convergence rate and a learning rate? That is very important for this kind of algorithms. And last but not least, an application, if I will have enough time, how to use it for a financial application in finance. So in fact, reinforcement learning started in the 70s, but there are a lot of papers in the 80s by Sutton. And the introduction of this paper are very, very enlightening even today because they explain really what is the aim of reinforcement learning. What is it? You are in a completely unknown environment, okay? And you will take action. You will just move here, and you want to reach this table. And you will have to learn all the obstacles, all the dynamics. Maybe you will have winds, you will have a lot of obstacles, while you are taking decisions. And it is now called an exploitation problem. You are exploring the universe, and simultaneously, you are trying to exploit it, meaning that taking efficient decisions. So your decisions will lead what you will be able to learn, because if I go there I will learn about what is on this stage. If I go there, I will learn about what is on this seat. So I am controlling where I go, and I try to learn all the role of the games I'm playing. There is a picture that I often give to my students, is in France, when you've got to post a letter, it's very simple. You go to one mailbox. In the US, it's really a reinforcement learning problem, exploration. In which mailbox would you put your letter? So if you just have one letter to send, I don't know what you can do, except by random. But after 1, 2, 3, 4 letters, you will then know how fast it goes. And so you will progressively select the best mailbox. Of course, if you stuck with just one, you will learn nothing about the universe. Even if you believe it's the best, you've got to test while you are learning to take the best actions. So the cost function is a mix of what you are doing during the learning. And that's very important in reinforcement learning. Okay? So I have two formulas in my slides. So this one is a very simple way to explain what is happening. So I do not have a pointer, so please follow me. The first here, queue of all these variables that are just encoding where I am and when I am here, it's the value to play A, the action A, when at time t I am in X, that is a position. What is the value of doing that? Especially if I want it to be optimal, it is just the reward I will have, the reward here, and then I will have changed my position, and I have to mix that with the best possible action while I will be at the position. So the maximum is the best possible action. The best action today is to go somewhere, having a reward, and then taking again the optimal decisions. Okay, it's just that. And the way to solve that numerically is not very difficult, because mathematicians have noticed long ago some properties of equations that allow them to build this small q, k plus 1, blah, blah formula. That is just to say, okay, I will just explore. So I believe that the value of being there is 10. I believe that being here is 11 and here 12. I have to move there. Okay? But maybe it's just a belief. Once I will be there, it will be just 9. I've got to update my belief. A way to do that is that if my belief was too high, I have to just put it down, to reduce it. If my belief was too slow, I have to maybe take a belief that is a little larger than that. And I will do that at a speed. It's just a memory. The speed is here gamma, the learning rate. So in a reinforcement learning algorithm, you are exploring the world and you are learning, and you learn at a speed that is gamma. If you learn too fast, it's like a kid. If you learn too fast, you will forget the past. If you learn too slow, you will never learn something new. So this gamma can be high. If it's large, you will learn very fast, but you will forget the past. If it's slow, you will learn very slowly. And so the question that we had with my co-author, Othman Mujid, is how to try to do something with that. So I will go very fast on this slide, especially on the different kind of errors you can try to minimize. But I want to emphasize this with a picture of AlphaGo, is that reinforcement learning can also be used, and it is used in finance, to solve problems like AlphaGo did. But if you think about the solution provided by AlphaGo, it's not the one that I was talking about, because AlphaGo was not learning while it was playing with Lycédol. It learns on thousands and thousands of games before. So it did not add an exploration cost. It's not like what I'm talking about is an algorithm that starts the first game with Lycédol knowing nothing about Go. Okay? So how to do that? To do that, you've got what is very, very important is this parameter that is the learning rate, okay, this gamma. There is this strange formula on the top of this slide, and you can see some gammas, okay? And it says, what does it say? It says that usually you want to learn slowly enough to have a little bit of memory, but fast enough so that your error at the end of the world, your error will be 0. And usually, in all the academic papers about that, the solution provides this blue curve that is decreasing for sure, but very, very slowly to 0. Even at the end of this slide, it went even very high. It is what has been used by DeepMind researchers to learn with AlphaGo. So very slow. But because they had tons of computing power, and they could learn before starting the first game. So the challenge here is how to do that differently. To do that differently, instead of having this gamma that is decreasing slowly, you want to choose a gamma that decreases very fast. So there are some solutions. This orange curve is one of the solutions, and we provide different ways to do that. But what is important is that, of course, if you do it, so you've got even the green curve that is better, but the green curve, it goes faster, but not as slow. So there is a trade-off. You can learn very fast, but if you do that, you will continue to have an error. You can try to have at infinity a very slow error, very slow rate of mistake, very low rate of mistake, but you will have to learn very slowly. So how do you mix these both different viewpoints? So there is one way. If you are able to detect that you reach this plateau with a green curve, then you change the way you learn. So you can just make small jumps like this, and now you are going very fast. Okay? So it's a solution. So instead of blindly learning very slowly with a guarantee to have a perfect learning at the end of the world, because you are playing now the big game with Lycédol, you need to learn very fast and maybe be suboptimal. But when you see that you do not seem to learn that much more, you do it again, and on, and on, and on. And step by step, you will achieve the same asymptotic, meaning at the infinite performance, than with the blue curve. Okay? So it is what we put in place. And I will go fast again, because I was 3 seconds. That we provided. So there is a paper that will be very, very soon available, maybe next week, on arXiv, if you got all the formulas, all the details, and all the applications. And in finance, so maybe I will just jump to the conclusion. In finance, what can be useful? So you can use reinforcement learning, as I said, two ways. You learn very slowly, but it's very cheap to learn. You learn before starting the game. It is what banks are doing when they want to implement hedging strategies. Okay. So therefore, you can afford to have a very slow decreasing rate. You've got a lot of computers in a cloud somewhere, and you put all of that. There are other games like online trading. When you are trading, implementing a trading algorithm, you are interacting with humans and other algorithms. You don't know what they will do. Here, you are doing online learning, and you've got to do it very fast. So what we propose, what I spoke about, is for the second kind of application. Okay? And now, if we continue to think about banks and financial markets, you've got a lot of people there that can and are putting in place reinforcement learning and machine learning and deep learning because they are statisticians and they know how to do optimization. But they are facing two big problems, two big issues. The first is, OK, sometimes things are going wrong. So I need to interact with the machine. Okay, how to optimally interact or prepare by design your machine to interact with you when there is an issue. And the second point is, OK, I have no real guarantee because there is something learning online. Maybe it will completely ruin up the bank or bankrupt the bank in 3 days. How can I check that? You need explainability, and you need to do that to be able to measure the inefficiency of your learning, to be able to assess the confidence and the trust you will have in this algorithm. The good point, and I will finish with that, the good point is that if you know how to rank the efficiency of the algorithm, you can build an adversarial strategy with a second artificial intelligence that is ranking in real time your first learning algorithm to correct it. So there are solutions, but it's a lot of research to be able to perform those two big points for banks. And so continue to follow the FAIR Louis Bachelier website, and we will post a lot of news about that soon. OK? Thank you very much.